And I'm really excited for today's sit and the conversation that goes along with it. So, welcome, Jokai. Thank you for being here with us and sharing your time and energy and practice with us. Without further,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Deshaun, for the kind introduction and for helming things. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Good to see you. What a nice opportunity to spend some time in meditation practice and share some Dharma words and discussion in the middle of the week in the middle of the day, practice in the middle way, right? It's like what it's just right. So yeah, appreciate you coming along. We'll practice meditation. We're going to have a for about 25 minutes, and then I'm going to offer a short talk. I come from the Zen Buddhist lineage. So today's talk will have something of a Zen flavor. Won't be able to help myself there. So and maybe that hope that will be interesting to you. Again, I appreciate the opportunity. It's a wonderful gift. The Big Bear Retreat Center makes us available to everybody for anybody to come and join at any time. That's no small thing. So, without further ado, let's please begin to make any posture adjustments that we would like to make before the sitting begins. One of the real strengths of the online sitting experience is most of us have acquired a favorite chair at this point or a favorite cushion, a favorite spot perhaps, right? So, right here at the middle of the day where already a lot of content has been coming in the morning, and maybe there's well, I'm sure there's plenty of content ahead in the afternoon. So this is a chance to return meaningfully to a still point and meaningfully to be present, which is always a powerful investment and just in the health and the strength of the body mind. It helps at the beginning for meditation to always give some time to the basics, the basics or the fundamentals in that way. Make sure you notice your feet on the ground or your knees on the ground, however you might be oriented. Just take a moment to acknowledge that connection. Wherever we are in this curious internet realm where we're scattered all around, well, we're all sharing. We have the earth in common. We're all right here. So let's feel the earth beneath our feet, the same earth that the Buddha felt beneath his feet, and all of the teachers and sages and practitioners through these long millennia. So connected with the ground, and the crown of the head can reach just gently without any forcing, just reaching for ceiling or sky, just helping to straighten a little bit. Let's bring attention to our breathing, soften the shoulders, and invite longer and deeper breathing now. Good full breath in through the nostrils, if that works for you, just to breathe fully in, and that helps us to straighten the body without any forcing. So really lengthening and straightening on the in-breath within the uniqueness of your own body. And then with the out breath, just let it all go, deep exhalation without collapsing in the body. Right? So just think that bellows action, breathing in, little straightening without forcing, breathing out, letting go, dropping off, putting things down. There's nothing you can lose in meditation that you need. So a few more rounds of this longer, deeper, intentional breathing, and then I'm going to strike a bell. I'm going to sit for 25 minutes. Breath awareness is here throughout as an anchor for presence If you have your own meditation practice in a different style, a different way, well, I encourage you to do what's most skillful, enter into your own practice for sure. But the breath awareness practice is an inexhaustible practice. Even it's said that the Buddha, many years into his teaching life after his enlightenment, was asked by Ananda that the congregation was asking, what do you do when you sit, when you meditate? And the Buddha said, I sit with awareness of breathing. So I always take that as, well, if it was good enough for the Buddha, it's good enough for me. So let's enjoy the sit, enjoy the time together. And let's sit all of the way down. Let's just take a moment to stand and stretch if you like. I often have a moment after sitting 20, 30, 20, 25, 30 minutes where I realize, well, there's really nothing to say. Yeah. It's like what it would anything I say is extra, right? This is our realization. This is our mindfulness now. But words, that's what we use to communicate. You know, as a Dharma teacher, I try and keep it front and center what the Buddha said when he talked about the finger pointing at the moon. It's like the teachings are a finger that points at the moon in that case being awakened mind, a realization. And we should not confuse the finger with the moon, but use the teachings, use our discussion and our study in order to point us back at who and what we already are in our original mind, in our original essence. I mentioned just at the beginning that so I come from the Zen lineage, a Zen school. I'm originally from the UK. I moved out to study Zen at a Zen training temple above Palm Springs in the mountains, Yokoji. And all in all, I was there for 20 years. So quite a considerable time all told. Studying Zen and finishing the formal. There's a formal curriculum of study. And then I moved out about 6 months ago. I'm now down in the Coachella Valley and reflecting and unfolding a new practice in some ways, a practice which I'm calling the practice of becoming ordinary, returning to everyday life and in it and becoming ordinary, which is like I feel to become really radically your ordinary self is an extraordinary thing. To really be who you are through and through, and to know that one, and to be at home in ourself, at home in our own skin, it is a wonderful is a wonderful thing. Meditation is the most efficient way that perhaps the human beings have found to bring themselves to a place where deep realization of our life can safely unfold. It's a time where we are still, quiet. There may be a little noise. We might move a little bit, no problem. But we're not involving ourselves in any other activity than just sitting. We may have some method. I mentioned at the beginning, if you have many people have different practices. There's a practice for everyone. That's like the wealth of the many Dharma traditions we have represented in our corner of the world. There's many ways to approach meditation. Um, but all of it is involved in letting go of chasing after objects of mind and coming back to what is most real, what is here now. Often as human beings, we are, I know I am, preoccupied with thought and the churn, the to-do list, the thinking back, the thinking forward, the positioning and negotiating with reality. And that becomes at times burdensome, and sometimes thinking just isn't the right tool for the job. Our sit and practice allows a powerful reset to take place, where if we're still patient and patient, the body mind, in its own wisdom, will come back to baseline, will return to a place of fullness and ultimately equanimity. But it takes practice, as we know. Meditation is something of it's like a glacial pace, right? But that's how you can trust it. I don't know anyone who spent a long time in meditation or in Dharma practice who said, it really didn't help, or it was really the wrong thing to do. No, the difficulties that come are usually involved in the human realm. When we're practicing meditation, we're living in the Buddha realm. Right? So at least for this 25 minutes, when we're sitting, or the time that we're practicing stillness, why not be a Buddha for that period of time? After all, it's recorded in the Mahayana that the Buddha said, I, all beings, simultaneously attain the way. Or I, all beings, are the wisdom and virtue of the awakened one. Indra's net taken up. In the Buddha's declaration of enlightenment, everybody without exception, all beings, all things throughout space and time are caught up in that awakening. That is this mind now. Although we're all different ages, different stories, unique mix of causes and conditions, I think we can clearly attest to the fact that we share a root awareness, which is common to all. You and I look up, I see us in these little rectangles, a wonderful full human being sitting in a little rectangle. But somehow, however it works with the electrons bouncing back and forth and things far beyond my understanding, we're able to see and hear one another and connect. That's extraordinary. But that connection takes place within this mysterious awareness that we all are, without exception. And meditation and mindfulness practice, yeah, another way to describe it is reality alignment. Right? Meditation it's like going to the spiritual chiropractor. We need an adjustment that brings us back to the way things are. Nothing more or less extraordinary than that fact. Returning over and over to the way things are with direct experience. In my own practice, of just sitting, then the key shift in Zen just sitting practice is when practicing, particularly when sitting, although of course practice extends far beyond that, it's allowing all of everything that is here to be here without exception. Right? All of the thoughts, the feelings, the sound on the street, the movement, the temperature of the room, everything is met as is, internally, externally. And the shift is to let go of the value system around the content. That's also the difficulty, is letting go of attachments and value of content. A way to describe that is we tend to think that our own thoughts when we're sitting they can appear as important. But in just sitting practice, we meet the content of thought in the same way we meet the pins and needles in our foot, with no more importance or value, right? but rather just things as they are without a preference, without clinging, but easier said than done. For human beings, we do love to manipulate reality and weigh and judge and pass and negotiate and commentate. And that's a lot of our waking day in the way that we skillfully maneuver through the world. And that's the human realm. And that's important. But again, in our time of meditation, I mean, it's what I think it's a very wise thing that you do to come to noon mindfulness, to come and sit for a while, to connect with Sangha and to punctuate the day in that way. Because to do so is of benefit. And with all of the traditions, the Zen tradition, secular mindfulness traditions, Tibetan Buddhism, whatever tradition that it is, if you really strip any Buddhist approach or meditation approach down to its core principles, it is a way to let go of dukkha, of dissatisfaction, of suffering, however we interpret that word, a way to let go of suffering and a way to bring benefit forward. That's our core orientation. Dharma practitioners are people who have waking up, found an upright way to go forward, and are in the business of deepening our way and deepening our realization. I just wanted to share a little bit to give you perhaps some flavor of Zen approach. But I think I'd like to open it up now for any discussion, anything about what I said or what's going on in your practice, anything that you'd like to raise up or ask. Let's take some time now to hear from you if you would like. And hopefully the leaf blower outside my window is not being picked up on your end. I don't know. This is one of the things when I lived at the Zen Center at the mountaintop, I could rely on a quiet background. Now I'm living down now I'm in the valley. I don't have so much control, you know? Anything at all that you'd like to raise up about practice, meditation, and please feel encouraged.
Yes, I'd like to ask a question. I'm Susan. Thank you.
And you can feel free to use the.
Oh, do you want me to raise my hand?
Nope, you're good. You're good.
We're good.
Yeah, I really appreciate this meditation and your years of experience. I meditate in the morning. I set a timer and I do it, but when I'm doing with you, it was much more profound. But I notice my mind going so much. I don't know if it's because it's the afternoon. Maybe it's easier to meditate in the morning or the evening. But I notice myself planning and thinking and
Yeah.
just a lot of planning and scheduling and, oh yes, I need to iron a shirt for something I'm going to go to. Just like stupid stuff like that. So I just want to know what your advice is on that.
Yeah, well, I don't think, maybe I'll be contrarian and say I wouldn't call it stupid stuff. It's important to have like a well-ironed shirt for the right occasion, and we have a many tasks, small and large, and they all have their place. Our goal in meditation is not to not think or not even to not plan, but rather to not weigh, judge, or pursue whatever comes in. So if you happen to have a busy planning mind, which wants to do things, no problem. Just allow a busy planning mind to unfold and do what it needs to do. Your role in that is to just watch and allow it. But what you ought not to do is to call it good or bad. If you reach in and say, yeah, you know what, actually, I should finish meditation early and go do that now. Or, you know what, I need to write that down before I forget it. If you start, or if you say, I shouldn't be, gosh, I've been doing this for years, I'm still hopeless at it. Any of those things is something extra. It's much, much better to allow it to be what it is, no problem, and then let it pass. Shunryu Suzuki, who's the abbot of San Francisco Zen Center, had a wonderful saying about this. He said, when thoughts come, allow them, but don't serve them tea. Right? And
I
it's a
like
nice,
that.
he puts a nice flavor on it, like don't serve them tea, but that's it. Don't greet and serve them tea. And also no need to show them the door and tell them they're not welcome either. Let this occur, but it's fine. It's only a problem if we make it a problem with a judgment or an idea. That's your skillful body mind trying to take care of you and your day and to do what needs to be done. But we're all often a little overclocked in that department. And it runs when it doesn't need to run. And that just points to the fact, hey, another way to look at it is, wow, how wonderful that now I see how busy my mind is. Just this practice of still awareness and noticing is helping that.
Thank you. That was lovely.
Thank
So
you.
tea, I'll remember that tea line. That's good.
Yeah. It's a good thing in a Dharma. None of these things are copyrighted, so I can take things from all kinds of people.
Hi, I have something to, I guess, share. My name is Luce. Thank you so much. This is my first time joining one of these sessions. So, like I said, along the lines of what we were just talking about, you stated that sometimes, like, you have a thought and you're like, oh, this is the most important thought in the world, and we think that whatever is happening to our lives is like the center, but like kind of realizing that everybody has their own thing that they're going through.
Yeah.
And I think that, so like during this session, I was meditating a little bit more. I'm newer to it. I was doing it more consistently, like 2024, 25. And then earlier this year, I just stopped and I haven't really done it consistently. This is my first time back now. And kind of being aware of these thoughts that pop up and like, oh, I got to do this thing. And no, I have to remember to call that person and all these other things. And then just realizing like, oops, like, let me go back to what I'm doing, and then being able to translate that out in the real world where, like the everyday world where perhaps I might be having a confrontation with someone, or I create these narratives in my head with someone, and then kind of just like, oops, hold on one second, like this is like this line of thinking isn't serving me right now. Let me be able to back out of it. So being able to practice that here in the meditation, so that it does become more automatic out in my everyday life, is the way that I see it when these thoughts pop up. And it's like, oh, I'm aware and I'm not just letting my thoughts run away with me.
Yeah. Meditation in that way is the rediscovery of boundless space, right? It's rediscovering space. Like if we're unpracticed, the world can't help but condense between the ears. We get kind of narrow and we get a little small. When we sit, we're opening up to a broader experience of self and recognizing a stillness and a space, right? So that's taking place when we practice. Ultimately, then, that space becomes much more available when we're not meditating, right? We're in a conversation, we're involved in a task, we're involved in more complexity and busyness, but the space is still recognized and available. And when we have space, then we have agency and choice, right? So like in an unpracticed or unrealized tends to be a much more reactive and conditioned experience. And then with the introduction of space and presence, we're able to be responsive rather than reactive, and having choice to be able to, maybe our first reaction comes forward and we realize I don't have to engage that. I just pause. I can turn in a different direction. And that's then that it's recognizing or finding that place where you're always at the pivot point, but you have agency over which way to go. And then you can choose the way which is appropriate to the conditions. Unfortunately, like with Dharma, the appropriate response is coming through you. The world will act through you much more than having to go through the filter of me. That's a very powerful ally, because if it's me trying to make the appropriate choice every time, I've got a mixed track record at best. So, but if we kind of trust in, and it's like we're not discarding me in that, me, that's a very important part, but often me dominates and just wants to hold the steering wheel and micromanage every decision. But with realization and with presence, me and my thoughts and my opinions and ideas and my strategy, yeah, that's fine. There's also all of this, and the whole world's here, and this is a part of it. Yeah, maybe that part's really front and center, but it doesn't swallow the whole bandwidth of our reality. Because we know when it does, me, I swallows all the bandwidth, which it cheerfully will do. Me, I is always somewhere in attachment and aversion, and somewhere in dukkha. I hope that's useful.
Yes, thank you.
And I hope that, because I saw a question, Beth, in the chat there about preferences. So hopefully I kind of spoke to that a little with that response. I don't know if you wanted to follow up on that, Beth, or with what I said, if you have something to add there.
No, thank you. And yeah, I couldn't find the hand raise, which is sad. We should know that by now.
Okay, yeah. They keep
Yeah,
changing
no,
it.
I think maybe for me, I'm getting a bit hung up on the word preferences because we are surrounded by so many options in
Yeah.
life. So how to not have preferences, or I guess like cling to preferences in life, is a little bit harder for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah. Well, we're never going to be without preferences. I've got 10,000 preferences before 9 o'clock in the morning, typically. It's like I have like a whole slew of preferences. It's whether those things are running you or not. And if they're running you to a place of causing suffering, then something is out of sync. Right? So it's fine to have preferences, but how are they engaged in a skillful way? How do we even indulge our preferences? It's like I would rather this, but if I don't get that, that's okay. I'll take this. Right? So having preferences is fine, but if they run us, then that's usually the path to some problems.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think we're kind of coming up on time. We'll give Deshaun a moment here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me a moment, but also thank you for your practice today, Jokai, and for your words, your guidance is truly appreciated.
Yeah, no problem.
I